even though they're all from different parties, 3 are from Congress, 1 is from BJP, I think all the 4 of you will agree on this topic that you guys are facing, the man-animal conflict in your constituencies. Let me start off with Mr. Ponnanna. You come from the heartland of the forest. How difficult is it, or what are the expectations from your constituency people, that how do you tackle this problem of man-animal conflict?
Man-animal conflict is one of the biggest issues that we are facing. But this is not a recent phenomenon, as you know. So it's a legacy issue. We have been facing this for the last 4 decades, perhaps. And in Virajpet constituency, which I represent, we have about 3 sites of real dense forest. So the conflict, the recent development is that the conflict has expanded beyond just elephants and tigers. So we have bears, we have monkeys, and recently, about 3 days back, we had death caused by honeybees. Honeybees. So the area of conflict is expanding. So what is the way forward is a policy, matter of policy, and we must think beyond creating boundaries. What we've been doing is we have been digging trenches, putting up electric fences. We have been putting up barricades. So basically we are creating boundaries and barricades to prevent the conflict. It has not worked. So we must look at policy decisions which go beyond just creating boundaries. So coexistence is one area which we can work on. Then creating landscape for the animals which are now resident. So we have, for example, an issue where we have about, in Virajpet constituency, we have about 200 plus resident elephants. So there are 3 types if we want to focus on elephant conflict. One is resident, who live, breed in the estates. 2 is the ones which come and go back. 3 are the strays, the single ones which just come in. So unless we solve the resident elephant problem, there is no point in creating barricades and boundaries. So we have no real policy in place at the moment to take these resident elephants back to its habitat. So unless we do that, we are heading nowhere. Then comes the tiger, which is the second biggest conflict. Right? The tiger conflict is, tiger is a territorial animal. So territorially, we have only that much of forest cover, but population is growing, exploding. So these are the issues that really needs to be addressed.
Manthar, what is this system that is put in place when you receive a call from your people that there's a tiger attack or elephant that has entered the farmer's crop field? What is your response system there?
So the worst, as my colleague Ponnanna says, it's a never-ending calamity. The most distressing call you get early in the morning or late in the night, and from the forest officials or from our friends on the ground, sir, this has happened, there's a stampede or one person's life is lost. So we immediately go there and cut a sorry face. And the worst thing we can do actually is handing over that check of 15 lakhs to them, I think is the worst thing which we can do. And so now what I've made as an individual, I said, let the department people only give the check. And I don't want any positive publicity from giving a 15 lakh check. But the sad thing is, it's a continuous process where our farmers or the buffer zone dwellers venture into the forest, or the stray animals get into the zones where children are walking. And though there are response, immediately they've given messages. Then there is signboards where they announce elephants are near or bisons are near. But just on the 16th of this month, there was a local forest dweller, so what we call as the tribal community. So he had ventured into just 5 or 10 meters or 20 meters away from his house, and then one stray elephant has actually and he was missing for 3-4 days, and nobody had any clue of where. And when the body started getting decomposed, and it was so bad that actually we all went there, and then it was a very sorry state. But unfortunately, as policy matters shouldn't be short term. So what happens, one group of people come in and give some ideas saying railway barricades are the latest things. Now what the latest thing is, those 2-line railway barricades are not enough, put 3. So I think our policy should not be only for short-term stopgap management. It should be a 20-year, like how we have a 5-year plan, 10-year plan in the financial side. For even the environmental man-animal conflict, it should be a long-term strategy wherein it shouldn't change with every consecutive governments coming in. So what happens is when our environment minister, he's got some ideas, and then the previous regime or the future regime, they bring in new ideas, and then the whole thing gets revamped. And not only that, now we have even snake bites. Yeah. I want to highlight it to our honorable minister as well. Elephant trampling, you get 15 lakhs. But snake bite victims, you're still giving them only 2 lakhs. So that's a huge discrepancy within the gratification which we are putting out to the bereaved families. So as I said, policy matters should not be a short-term strategy. And I'm guessing lots of environmentalists come and give in their ideas. But on the ground, it is very difficult to actually implement most of it. But our department people continuously change committees there as well. Especially when you have these elephant task force and then this rapid response teams. What happens is every 2-3 years we're changing the personnel on the ground. So my suggestion to our honorable minister is, let experienced people who are geographically inclined or from that areas, let them be working in their areas of their comfort. So what happens is we keep transferring people within the district wherein for our own political gains, which actually doesn't help the system for monitoring elephants as well.
True. Darshan, you also come from Mysore district. At the end of the day, we can't talk to the animals. We can only convince the people not to enter the buffer zone or not to enter the forest alone or for their own purposes. How difficult have you felt talking to your constituency people in terms of making them understand how serious this problem is?
Well, ever since I got elected from Nanjangud, we've been noticing quite a few changes. And initially, I had to put a first foot forward to understand the actual problem. So as we travel towards the villages where man-animal conflict is very prevalent, we kind of noticed that they've taken up the issue themselves, and they've kind of set up tree huts, and that's where they've been supervising and driving away these elephants. So they're all working in coordination with the forest department to drive elephants or any such predators. That is one thing I noticed. Although, see, the people living in such areas, they are very focused and they're very dependent on agriculture. So they'll have to sustain with the environment, with the agriculture fields that are very closely located near the forest areas. So it's very hard for us also to convince them as to why the problem is very prevalent and as to why they have to stay away from such areas. It's very hard for us because just last year, end of 2023, we've seen one death. It was a very tragic death. It was one farmer lady by name Ratnamma in the village of Bellurundi. So she happened to be with her family, wherein she was just around the fields near the forest area, and she got attacked by a tiger and she fell prey to it. So that was a very tragic loss. So ever since that, Honorable Chief Minister and our esteemed Forest Minister, he visited this place. He attended a program in the premises, in the range, and he interacted with the public there, and he sought, as to what could be done, what should be done. And right now, in that specific area, Adiala Forest Range, we've reduced 50% of man-human conflicts since the last year, thanks to our Forest Minister, because he took an initiative and the railway barricades got completed. And we've also, as my colleague Mr. Mantagoda said, it is not enough. So we've also improvise the railway barricade by, improvising it by adding vertical barricades to that as well, so that the elephants don't cross. And we've again digged up new trenches, and we've maintained our solar tentacles. So since all that is in place, additionally our forest minister handed us over elephant task force as well to the Adiala forest range. So now we've kind of reduced 50% of the man-human conflict. Although in other ranges we have more issues, because my constituency has 3 ranges. Although one range it falls under the Gundlupet Vidhan Sabha, but primarily the problems that they face, due to those problems, our areas get affected.
Yeah.
So one major thing is coordination. We all need to coordinate with the people living around the forest areas, the forest department, the local representatives, and the farmers. We all have to be well coordinated to mitigate these problems, is what I have to say.
Dr. Sachi, what do you think in terms of policy that the government or we as a society can do much more? Because both the legislators said that railway barricades are okay today but not in the future. I've heard stories of elephants pushing a tree towards the railway barricade and then climbing over the tree to escape the electrical wiring and all of it. What do you see can be done in terms of policy making?
First of all, I want to congratulate India Today to organizing such a wonderful program, that too involving our eminent forest minister. It's a conflict, man and animal conflict. So what is the conflict? Conflict is mainly for the needs, their needs. See, as sir told, like 43,000 square kilometer area is there as a forest. An elephant requires 6.3 square kilometer area. If you divide by the total area by number of elephants, that is 6,300 elephants, that comes to exactly the same. Definitely they have to come to our way. So there is a fantastic caption like highways, elephants are crossing the highways. No, it's actually highways are crossing the forest area. That too unfortunate that with we having such a nice forest minister, Karnataka is standing second in a deforestation in India. First is Madhya Pradesh, second is Karnataka, as per what statistic I got. The thing is, we have to satisfy their needs. That means we have to improve the number of tanks inside the water resource inside the forest. That's the one. Second thing is, we have to prevent the fire misincidents which is happening in the. I request our able forest minister to increase the number of fire watchers. Actually, on contract basis they should hire, but in practically they hire 10, but in practical they work only for 2 to 3 people. So we have to avoid that one. And the second thing is, for them, they have to, for food, their needs, they have to come to the areas they are coming. So, as we know, railway barricade is the best among all the 3. It requires 1.5 crore per kilometer is the cost which is happening. But still, the thing is, we have to protect our area, means we have to have a good, robust task force. In Shimoga area, we don't have a task force. And even there is only 4 doctors are there. The 2 on deputation they have been posted, and the vacancy list which we see in the department is a huge, sir. The 2 DRFO vacant is 591 seats are there, and forest guard 2,621 vacancy is there, and elephant mautas around 65, and forest watches 1,705 vacancies are there. We have to fill that. Then only we can protect our area. There is a thing which I am feeling that it should be, and also the people who work in the task force, they should be given a sufficient good amount of equipments, especially the tranquilizer gun what they are using. They can shoot up to 40 to 50 meters. If it is given around 80 to 90 meters tranquilizer gun, it will definitely be benefited. Okay. And also the those who go and work, if there is any accidents, they don't have any ABY scheme for the workers. One, they have to spend their own money. Recently, 1.5 years back, Dr. Vinay, only 4 doctors are there in the entire state. Only Dr. Vinay, he was had a injury with the one elephant, and he was supposed to hospitalize for 1.5 months. He spent 48 lakhs. He spent it from his pocket. Then government has reimbursed. That's good. But that protection also we have to give to the people. That we have to do.
All the elected representatives, one final minute each so that you can throw light upon this topic. What would you do much better in terms of handling this problem for your constituency people? Any initiatives that you can think of the government can take in, or maybe the civil society can pitch in to throw light on man-animal conflict? A minute each for all of them.
You see, we are not the only ones in the boundary of the forest. Right? So there are African countries, Namibia. I have been there.
In fact, they live.
Yeah, they live right there. So they don't face the same. There is conflict, obviously. You can't escape it. But there is the extent of conflict is not as much. So obviously something over the years has gone wrong. And if you look at it historically, it has only increased. So whatever policies, railway barricading, trenches, whatever we have adopted has not worked. So some radical thought process, radical change in policy to send back these animals to its habitat and then ensure they don't come out. This requires to be done. And people going into the forest and facing an attack is an absolutely different issue altogether. So we are talking about conflict in human habitation, in coffee estates, in streets. For example, my house, where my father's house, 50 meters away, we had a tiger attack, which was unheard of probably even 5 years back. So,
Yes.
So the conflict has increased in spite of all policies that we have adopted to prevent the man-animal conflict. So some radical change in policy is obviously required. Maybe we get some greater expertise in place, get these places, where there is existing human habitation in forest area. Some people from there to find out what is the way out.
Done. Mr. Mantha.
So, as I think all of us will agree, you can never completely stop this conflict. The only thing which I can suggest is where these huge large animals are actually housed, or if it's private estates, the department, instead of investing crores and crores on elephant barricades, you can buy large parcels of land. And I think lots of farmers from our area are so fed up, because labor getting into their estates, and then any conflict happens or any loss of life is the burden on the owner of the land. So I think mostly if you can, and lots of people will agree, I'm thinking those farmers are ready to give up their land for equal compensation. So if you can think of a large, I think around 2,000-3,000 acres of land which you can cordon off, and then this monocrop culture which the British has brought in. So forests which we are predominantly in, most of them are teak plantations. And then, I don't know if it's like a valuation game or what, but those teak plants don't let any other plantation come. So every year they call us for the seed ball plantation where jackfruit, bamboo, all of that. But as you said, those plants never take off at all. Yeah. You have cattle which come and eat off saplings as well. So if you can cordon off large areas of land and leave it bare for around 10 years or 20 years, and then slowly start moving animals inside. It's just a suggestion. I don't know if it's financially feasible again. But as studies from across the globe has to happen, wherein how other countries are handling it well. I'm sure they're not projecting it as much as we are, but since people vote for us and not the animals, so we turn a more sorry figure to the humans and not actually think of the animals. So just 2 days back, there was they relocated one wild elephant from that. So when you see that elephant, it's got gunshot wounds, it's been beaten up throughout its tenure as well. So as you said, the forest officials who are not being able or not equally competent to drive them away, locals still start taking law and action into their own hands. Recently there was one pregnant elephant also which was shot. I think sir also has got into that notice. So large areas of land, coordinate off, and let the regular plantations grow in. Because just this monocrop culture from the British which came through, I don't think which is working as fodder for the animals. So I think this could be one of the future to mitigate conflicts.
Mr. Darshan.
So just two things. We could definitely work on improvising the preventive measures that are already in place. So as I previously said, the rail barricades in certain areas have been improvised now with vertical and horizontal, as well as 1 kilometer in Adiala range has been attached with a mesh. So it is an experimental basis that we did and has worked out pretty well. So we could improvise certainly on such aspects. Also, as I previously said, coordination is prime. There has to be coordination, especially in ranges that lie in different Vidhan Sabha constituencies. There has to be a massive coordination between the two ranges, between the three ranges, as well as the local farmers and the local reps. If there's no coordination, it is very hard for us to handle man-human conflicts, also crop loss. So these are just two things that we could work on, and maybe then I think we can see better results, because in Nanjangud Vidhan Sabha, in Adiala range, we've seen results. Thanks to our forest minister and the chief minister, we've seen better results. Hoping to see better results with the other two ranges as well. And with improved coordination, I think we could definitely achieve something big.
Dr. Sergi.
Yeah. The thing is, deforestation is the main issue. Here, for tissue paper, we cut around 27,000 trees a year. For in India, it's around 37 lakhs per year they are cutting the trees. In the entire world, it is around 1,530 crore trees are being cut. So only way is we have to do good plantation, as our minister told, like 5,000, above 5 crore samples has been done. It's a good thing, and we have to increase the support their need of the elephants. That means we have to build a good number of water resource area we have to increase. Second is we are installing elephant collar that we are doing, and how effectively it is working that we need to check, and we need to give proper protection to our forest guards, and we have to take care them well, and also filling the vacancies is one of the most important thing. And also we need to work on elephant population, how it's going. It's already 370 to 400 elephants in over 3 to 4 years. Number has increased. We need to work on that. And also finally, main thing is, like, we have to hire good number of staff and increase the number of elephant camps across the state, because we have only 9 elephant camps across the state. We require, because if something happens in Chikmagaluru, all the way the elephants has to go from Shimoga to Chikmagaluru or Hassan, like that. So it's better to establish more number of elephant camps.
That was really nice of all of you to throw light on the man-animal conflict and the problems that each of you are facing in your constituencies. The minister has heard himself, most likely that even the civil society will pitch in, and we as people will do more for the wild animals as well, so that the problem of man-animal conflict will reduce. Thank you all so much for speaking to us and enriching our audience with our inputs.